Building an agency can be a great lifestyle business, but there's some hidden truths that people don't tell you about what it's actually like to build an agency. And that's that a lot of the time you can't use that freedom, even though you built yourself a vehicle to get that freedom. I'm going to explain 4 things that people don't tell you about this whole agency building stuff. I've been building mine for 3 years. Firstly, it's this location and time freedom dilemma. It's a kind of fake promise, and I want to explain what that means. Secondly, it's the reality of passive income, which doesn't really actually exist. Thirdly, the myth of agency life versus the actual reality. Fourthly, the true work hours required for growth. First, about the time and location freedom. So people start an agency, they want time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. Okay, great. The thing is, if you want to build an agency, and I've spoken about this on other videos, if you want to build an agency, you're going to have to work. Let's say you get time freedom. Let's say you get location freedom. If you want to work on your agency, you need to spend your time on the agency. So you have the time freedom. But if you actually want that thing to grow, you can't use that time freedom. Yes, you can use it to some extent. I'll be the first one to tell you that. A lot of people will flash their nice lifestyle from the agency at you. Definitely you can have a pretty nice lifestyle, but I tried to have the lifestyle before I put in the work. For the past 3 years, in my first year, basically, I traveled a bunch and I tried to use the time freedom, use the location freedom, and I did use it, don't get me wrong, but I didn't grow the business. The business didn't grow. It stayed the same. Like, it grew a little bit because I managed to retain people. And so actually it did grow a fair amount, but it was through no deliberate effort of my own. And it was a little bit by happenstance, but it was like, that's not the kind of growth that I can guarantee year on year. That's the problem. You have no control over it. When you have that freedom of time and location, it's great. But if you want the agency to grow, you actually need to dedicate that time and that location to the agency usually. So the location thing, what I mean is, like, when you stay in one place and you have a routine, you get way more done. And so great, you can now work from anywhere and you can choose where to use your time. But if you want to grow the agency, you have to keep using the time to grow the agency. It's a little bit of a dilemma. If you go spend your time elsewhere, and let's say you go on a trip or whatever, you're spending a bunch of time, a bunch of money, a bunch of hours away from the agency. It's very counterproductive, actually. It detracts from your goals. It's this dilemma. It's this fine line to walk, because you're trying to get the lifestyle, but you're going to have to use that hour or whatever to actually work on the agency. Sure, you don't have to work 9 to 5 anymore, but if you spend all your 9 to 5 going out, spending money on lunches and bars and drinks, you're not going to make any progress, and you're going to spend all your money you have. That's what's going to happen. The second thing is this whole passive income thing. And people will talk to you about passive income. In the agency game, the income isn't passive. It doesn't just show up at your door. Oh, here's 10 grand. You get paid to do things, and you're going to have to work. You can outsource that work, sure. But if you want to grow, again, you have to work more. In order for the fire to grow, you have to go and gather more wood and cut down the trees and do all of that. Like, you can't just expect it to grow by itself. Sure, if you work a lot, you have a little fire, you can kind of stop for a while and it'll keep burning, but it'll slowly die out. And so you have to keep working to keep that income coming. It's not passive. It's a job. Like many others, right? You go to the job and you work and you do the thing, and eventually that creates income. And so the only difference is that your income isn't guaranteed. And so you get paid a little bit of a premium because you have some more risk, but it's not some kind of passive income vehicle. I'm not going to tell you that you'll never get passive income. Sure, this happens. When people get to a stage in business where they have a lot of money or a big agency and somebody's sitting in the driver's seat growing that agency for them, that's a different conversation. When you're sub 100 grand a month, nobody's going to sit down and grow that thing for you. Nobody's going to do your job. And so if nobody's going to do your job, it's not passive income. You still have the job that you have to do. You can do it badly, right? You could work 3 days a week and not do it super well. But fundamentally, you can't get away from the fact that you do need to fulfill on your responsibilities in order to get that income. It is not some passive thing. And if you see people trying to sell you on passive income and showing the great life that they have, usually you are funding their great passive income of some sort. If they're trying to sell you stuff, one of two things. Either you are funding their great lifestyle by purchasing online products or something like that, where they don't fulfill on them, so they don't actually spend any time, or they have been in the business game for long enough. The difference is some guys do have it quite passive, and the difference is basically they've been doing this for 5 to 10 years. At that point, that's when you start to talk. But until then, don't get this in your head that you'll just have this there sitting for you. That's not going to happen. Number 3, the myth of agency life versus the reality. This is a kind of combination of the past 2 points, right? Which is like, the myth is time freedom, location freedom, no 9 to 5, passive income. It's so amazing. Yes, it's nice, but the thing that's nice about the agency is not those things, in my opinion, it's the fact that you have control over who you work with and what you do with your time. But other than that, it's not a 9 to 5, but you still got to work 9 to 5, if not more. Like, you don't have to work those hours, but you got to work 8 hours or more. You got to work 8 to 12 hours. So you're not running away from the work hours. Don't get that in your head. The time and location freedom thing, right? Like I said in the first point, it's great to be able to use the time where you want. It's great to be able to live where you want, but you are going to have to dedicate these things to the agency in some way or another if you want to see that thing grow. If it's not your priority, it will show and the business will stagnate unless you are big enough where it can keep growing by itself. But usually that doesn't happen for a while. This just means that your life is better for the control that you have, not for the fact that you now don't have to work or something like that. I would say the biggest benefit and like what I enjoy the most is that I get to choose the people that I work with, and I get a good deal of autonomy, and I get leadership. Like, I enjoy leadership, I enjoy risk, I enjoy responsibility. These are the things that come with an agency. It's risk, responsibility, and a bit of leadership. It's not this, amazing job where you can just slack off and turn notifications off and not reply to anything and expect money to come in. It is not that, and I don't want you to get it in your head that it is. This video is not to discourage you from making an agency. This video is to tell you what it's like so that you go into this game knowing what you're doing. Don't go under false pretenses. Get this in your head straight so that you know exactly what to expect, so that when it hits you, it does not hit you like a brick wall. Because I know for me, I had this misconception way too big in my head. And so I started acting like I had time and location freedom and all these things. Didn't realize I'm not gonna get that growth that I wanted until I really put in the time, until I dedicate my location to being where the agency needs me, until I stop trying to live that, crazy lifestyle or something and just put it in toward the agency. The last point that I wanted to make, the fourth one, is the true work hours required for growth. Now, this is going to be different for everybody, and it's not so much actually about the true hours required for growth. It's just the focus required for growth. In order for your business to really grow, and especially from under 30 or 40K a month, generally when you're under that threshold, I have seen that most people don't have a specific offer. This includes myself, by the way. I make in the 5 figures a month, a couple of 5 figures, but in the low 5 figures. And that is not going to change until I really crack an offer. And I think I have never seen anybody crack an offer and stay stuck below that for very long. And so basically, it is really important that that becomes your focus. So it becomes the priority. It becomes the thing that you think about in the shower, on your way home, when you go to bed. Like, that is what it takes, because you need to be thinking about it a lot in order for it to really grow, and because it has to be the priority in your life, because otherwise you won't get the energy you need into that business, because nobody else is going to figure it out for you. The true hours required for growth are not in the hours alone. It's a lot of hours required. Like, again, you have to do the job, right? You have to show up at the office and do your job. And I'm not going to tell you that it's going to require 16-hour days every day, because sometimes it's not just 16 hours, but it's more about, like, it has to be the thing that you're focused on. You can't be thinking about like trips every weekend and planning this and just hanging out with friends. Like, it has to be the thing which gets the mental priority, and it should only be one priority. You can't be competing with 6 other things in your life. That's what it takes to grow. That's the only way I've seen people do it successfully. And it's from my own experience, as well as my friends close and far who I've observed doing things well. So at the end of the day, in summary, this is not to discourage you from starting an agency by any means. I'm in this game and I have no regrets about it, but don't go in with a misconception. If you're going to play this, know what you're getting into. If you know what you get into, you can do so much better, because you are not going to try and live under that false pretense and then be like, oh, why isn't this working? Which is, funnily enough, it's what I did actually. Like, I was a fool because I believed this. I believed this fallacy. I believed this dream. And then things didn't happen the way I wanted. And I was like, oh, wait, like, what do you mean? Why is it not working? It was because I didn't do things properly. I really hope this is useful for somebody. Man, go after it. Get in the agency game. It's a fucking good one to play. It will teach you so much. Do not expect it to get you like Ferraris and 5-star hotels in 2 years and you don't have to do anything for the rest of your life. That is not the game that you're playing. Don't get that in your head. Work hard and have fun. That is the game that you're playing. It is working hard though, right? But have fun along the way. It definitely is a lot of fun. And I can say that with 100% certainty. But yeah, anyway, leave any questions. I hope it's useful. Yeah, that's it.